Welcome back to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 Eastern and 9 Central, and it's good to be back. With me as always is Jamie, and we have an action-packed show for you tonight. So many things to cover. Jamie's shaking her head and smiling at me. Got a lot of cool things to talk about tonight, so let's dive right into the stack of stuff, see what we have to talk about, and see what we did this week. Got a lot of news articles we can go over. Also some things we did on the homestead. Got the seed swap box from Go for Green Living. Sent that back on its way, so it'll be coming about to the next homestead here very shortly. Whole lot of things going on. Let me dig over here to my stack of stuff. If you're interested in these podcasts, you can check them out by going to youtube.com. Obviously, download them as an MP3 and listen to them anywhere you go on your favorite MP3 player. Just search on your favorite browser for an MP3 YouTube downloader, and you can download it that way. I know a lot of people like listening to these broadcasts or podcasts in MP3 format, and that is how you do it. If you want more information and some great homestead channels, you can go to thehomesteadnetwork.com, go to their show times, and see a whole bunch of homesteads just like ours, and listen to their shows, see what times they broadcast their podcast or video cast or whatever they do, and check out their channels and subscribe and see all of their great content. And that's at thehomesteadnetwork.com/showtimes. Other than that, let's see, what did we do this week? I worked on the solar kiln. I painted the solar kiln. It's coming along. I was hoping to have that done by mid-February. I missed that. I'm hoping it now just to have it done by February, before February is over. You did a bunch of canning this week.
Everything takes longer than you think.
I know. I'm an optimist.
I know.
I'm the eternal optimist. It's going to be okay. You know, it's fine. We'll get it done. You canned chicken.
Yeah, we did another round of chicken and, of course, more stock again. And
love stock.
I think I'm getting to the end of my winter canning. I still want to do more beans and maybe a couple more of those big squash.
Yeah, we'll do some more squash. We have like 4 left down there.
Yeah, but I think I'll just do maybe 2 of the biggest ones.
Okay. So we got lots of squash left. It's looking like spring. I mean, if you wouldn't know it, but it looks like it's mid-April or later already. And it's just mind-boggling. And see, I won't be tricked, folks. I'm not going to be tricked. I'm not going to go out, start planting my tomatoes already and all my other plants, and then the first day of May, a snowstorm comes and drops 3 inches of snow on everything. I'm just not going to do it. I've been fooled before. I'm not going to have it happen again. I will not be fooled. So just wait. You just wait. Winter is not over.
Well, you always keep saying that you feel gypped.
I do. I feel ripped off.
We got gypped by winter this year.
I like a good, strong winter because it kills the bugs, kills the flies. It keeps nature in check. And we just didn't get it this year, and I'm beside myself over it. You know, every winter is different. I mean, we've been here where we've had abnormally cold winters. It's been down to, let's see, a couple winters ago it was down to -4 twice. That's pretty cold for the South. But I like those cold winters. I do. I like getting next to the fire, having all that wood, and it's just we didn't get it this year, and I'm a little disappointed.
It was a lot of work that year getting all that wood.
I know, but this year we're okay.
I know,
we got lots of slab
more
wood.
prepared this year, and
now I got ripped off.
Gypped.
We got gypped. Anyway, so I'm a little disappointed in the whole winter not happening. Let you guys know, smoked salt. I have 1 left in the store. I'm finishing up right now another batch of hickory smoked salt, and because we got new jars. See, here's how the smoked salt, it's an amazing product. People love it. All you have to do, I go to speaking events and I unscrew the top and I let people smell it, and all it takes is somebody to smell it one time and they want a jar. But it seems like we were getting the jars from Dollar General, if you know what kind of store that is. It's like a home. It's like in a lot of small towns they have Dollar General stores. Well, we would go around to Dollar Generals and buy all these little perfect awesome shakers, and we custom ordered them from the company, and they discontinued these jars. And we looked high and low for them to buy them online. We even tried to find them through China, going direct through China, but the shipping cost and the customs cost was just a mess, and you had to order a minimum order of like 5,000 jars at a time. And so anyway, we found a new jar we like. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a lot more bulky, but it's a nicer jar. It's an overall nicer jar, but it's going to raise the price up a few bucks for sure. And so I have one jar left of the maple smoked salt in the store. Whoever's the first person over there to get it can get it. But after that, those jars are gone. We're going to be using new jars. And they're a nicer jar, but it is going to be a higher price. It's still going to be 5 ounces, but definitely a more attractive, what would you call it?
It's a reusable jar. I mean, I would save it and use it for
display.
Yeah, but I would use it for spices.
Yeah.
If you were done with it, I would put spices in.
It's a really, really nice jar that you're going to be getting from here on out. But I'm finishing up a batch of hickory smoked salt, and I have one jar of maple smoke left in the store. So whoever gets that gets it. Let's see, what else we do this week? Anything else? I mean, it's just by the time we get here to Saturday night, it's a blur.
There's something that has been on my mind since we were talking about it earlier. When you were a kid and people always told you, well, just wait till you get older and time will fly, I feel like every single week I turn around and it's the weekend again. I feel like my life is slipping away. I just feel like
it goes by fast.
It's so fast. I've never in my life experienced it like this, other than especially before my homesteading life, because we're so busy that time flies. And I love being busy because it makes life interesting. But I'm just astounded. So we were talking about this earlier, and you were kind of joking. We're turning 40. Zach already turned 40, and he was joking with me that, we should have our midlife crisis because, we're getting old and time is flying by and we need to do something about it. Anyway, I said, well, I think we already did that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Our midlife crisis was moving off grid. That was pretty crazy. I don't think we could get more crazy than that.
People thought we were nuts for sure. I don't know what else we do this week though. I can't think of.
I don't know because
garden work.
The time flies by.
Garden work. I'm going to be going out tomorrow morning and hunting coyotes. Oh, I know. I talked with Carver Predator Calls. I got a really nice package in the mail this week from Carver Predator Calls. He sent me a really nice note and three new calls and then also a magnesium fire starter. Really cool. And the magnesium fire starter was made from like deer antler bone, and the two of the calls he sent me, Predator Calls, were made from acacia wood. Just beautiful, beautiful wood, beautiful finish on them, amazing handiwork, craftsmanship. And he gave his phone number, and that's why I called him right away. And I said, hey, man, thanks. This is amazing. And we talked for a little while on the phone. And I told him, he's like, so how's the coyote hunting going? And I told him, I said, man, I haven't gotten one yet. Most of the time, I can get them to answer my calls back, but I can't get them to come in. And he told me that he saw the video of me calling them, on YouTube. And he said, hey, it looks like, it sounded like you were doing great. It's hard. I said, are you using... He asked me if I was using any of the distress calls. And I told him no, because people in the past had told me that, and other people who are hunting predators don't use the distress calls too much, because if you do, they will get wise to it very quickly. And so not, don't only use it sparingly, and use primarily a lot of howling to get them in. Well, he said, Don't do that. He rearranged my strategy for me, gave me some new strategy, gave me some new pointers, and tomorrow morning I'm hitting the wood line, going on top of the mountain, and facing west, and I'm going to run a whole different strategy to call in these coyotes tomorrow morning. So I'm looking for my first kill, folks. It's on the horizon. I'm going to get it soon. Other than that, I received some really horrible news this week. Well, I'm going to save it for later. I'm not going to tell you yet because I'm going to do a video on it. I'll do a video.
Do I know what it is?
Yeah, it was what I sent away.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that later. I'm going to do a video on it, and horrible news. But I mean, not horrible. It's not
It's not what you think.
Yeah, it's not life-threatening. But I mean,
it's horrible for Zach.
I wanted to cry. So we'll talk about that later. So anyway, Homestead conferences, guys. There's a couple conferences coming up. You have one that we're gonna be going and attending. It's the homesteadevent.com. You can find information. Any kids under 18 are free, completely free to go. But it's Homestead Event, thehomesteadevent.com. Only adults have to pay their way, and you get a lot of different teachings for the event, for the tickets and stuff. All the information is at thehomesteadevent.com. Some really great homesteaders and homesteading channels will be out there. So it'll be a great time. Put on by Go for Green Living. Check that out, thehomesteadevent.com. And then you have one, we're not going to this one, but it's the Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference I think it's the Appalachian Homestead YouTube channel is putting that one on. And I think it's kind of like the homesteadevent.com where it's a homestead actually hosting the event, which is cool. So you can find out that if you just Google Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference. Again, Google Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference. I'm including a link in the description below so you can check out that for both conferences. You can see where the tickets are, how to get the tickets, and how to concrete your attendance for those events. So get that scheduled. It's going to be a great time. You got plenty of time to register and save up to make the trip. I hope to see y'all out there for at least the homesteading, the Go for Green Living one. And for all you guys who want to go to Tennessee to the other one, all the information is in the link in the description below. So Jamie was telling me, we were out visiting some friends today, and we were driving home this evening, and we were talking about what we're going to talk about tonight in the show. And I decided to call this podcast "I'm Busy, I'm a Homesteader." And we were talking about an article she had written recently, and she's been writing a lot because we're writing a book right now. And she was writing an article for the blog, which is going to be released this week. And I can just go to it real quick. And I don't have a link in the description below because it's not live yet. It'll be live this week. And it says, "My life as a homeschooling, homesteading mom." And I thought it was a really good article because there are and here's the deal, folks. There are so many people who contact us. And almost multiple times a week, at least, almost every day. And they email us and they're asking, "Hey, Zach, I'm going to be traveling through such and such, and, we want to stop by. Is there any way we can meet up? Or can I come over and you can show me your garden, or show me your greenhouse, or show me your sawmill, or just show me, can you show me the homestead?" And I know it sounds rude, but I don't even answer those emails anymore because I get them so often. And also because there's no way I can accommodate all the requests. I just don't have the time. I'm busy. I'm a homesteader. And I don't want to sound, hoity-toity. There's work to do. And people, I think, sometimes don't understand that when you live on a working homestead, you are working. And we get a lot of people who ask, who want to visit with Jamie and want to, meet with play dates and things like that. And
well, I think the people that request to come, they may be thinking that they're the only one.
Yeah.
So, and I know that everyone means well, and it's fine. It's just, I think what maybe they don't understand is that we get a lot of these requests.
A lot.
And if we were to accommodate everyone, that would be all we do.
Yeah. We'd never be able to get anything else done, no projects. And there's always projects here we're working on. And we try to share them with you as much as possible on video and things like that. And we have a couple events, one or two events a year here where people do come. And, so it's that time and that time only. We just can't keep doing it throughout the year. There's just so many requests. So I wanted to read the article that she wrote. And then me and her can talk it as we go. I think it's a really good article. So she starts off the article. It's called My Life as a Homeschooling, Homesteading Mom. And she starts off with a quote from Confucius. And the quote from Confucius is, "Choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life."
I loved that because, who doesn't want to love what they do?
Right.
But there have been so many times that I haven't loved what I've done. Sitting at a desk all day was really drudgery for me, but I did that for many years.
So it starts off, "I'm a self-proclaimed homebody. I used to feel the need to apologize for it because I felt judged at times for not having the desire to get out more. But I refuse to make an apology for it anymore. On the contrary, from now on, I know the answer I will give when I'm asked why I don't get out more. I will proudly proclaim because I'm a homeschooling, homesteading mom, and I love my job." Yeah.
Yeah.
She continues, "Almost 10 years ago, when my oldest child was still a baby, I attended a monthly Mommy and Me group with some of my girlfriends from church. I look forward to it every month. It was a blessed release in my baby grind world. If only I could tell my 10 years ago self what I know now. It's only a season. Savor the solitude, Jamie, and don't waste all that valuable time. The days will fly by, and one day you'll wish for the quiet hours of nap time." Julie was one of my better friends at that monthly play group. She had given me precious advice that I cherished as a new mom. She helped me figure out how to get my baby to sleep more, and I will forever be grateful for that. One of the nuggets that she shared wasn't even advice. It was a simple statement, and I think she would be surprised that I remember it and took it to heart all these years later. One day, as the summer was drawing to a close, she shared that school was starting and she wouldn't be coming to the Mommy and Me anymore. I was confused because she was a homeschool mom, and what I knew about homeschooling was that moms get to make their own schedules. I missed her at each of the following play groups, and I got even more confused when I saw other homeschool moms showing up regularly. Why couldn't Julie find the time?
Yeah, I understand now, and I respect her for it, but I think I go on with that later.
Yeah. So fast forward, it continues. Fast forward 10 years, and I have the answer. She was 110% committed to homeschooling. She treated it as her job, a job that she couldn't just decide to take the day off whenever she wanted, a job where you show up and you put your time in, whether you feel like it or not. It wasn't something to do unless something else more fun or interesting came along for the day. She was ready and willing to say no to things that she really wanted to do because it would take time away from her homeschooling day. I admire that so much in her because I try really hard to keep my priorities straight. Teaching my children is my full-time job too. And add that to off-grid homesteading, laundry by hand, cooking everything from scratch, cleaning the house, keeping up with the dishes, food preservation, and our home business. Sometimes it seems like more than a full-time job, but I wouldn't have it any other way. She continues, "I'm a mom. My time is not necessarily my own because my children require a lot of it. I do set my own schedule. After all, that's one of the beautiful things about homeschooling. I have the choice to set school aside for the day if there's something else more pressing or if we just need a day off. The problem arises when I take too many days off. One day turns into another and another. I turn around and the week is gone. Taking too many days off is a sure way to waste an entire school year. Whether you see yourself as more of an unschooler, classical educator, Charlotte Manson fan, or
Charlotte Mason.
Mason.
Oh my gosh.
Charles Manson fan.
You guys, he doesn't know. If you're a homeschooler, you know who Charlotte Mason is. Right. Probably, but Zach doesn't know.
Charlotte Mason fan, or loyal to your... See, she does all this stuff. I don't do this stuff. Charlotte Mason fan, or loyal to your favorite curriculum. I think you know what I mean. Being a home educator takes passion, commitment, and being intentional in creating learning opportunities for our children." And should I read the rest?
I mean, it's just wrapping up at the end, but I think the key is that I think with anything in life, you set your mind to it, that you're going to do it. You got to be intentional to make sure it happens. It's not just going to happen by itself. It's going to take you.
It's a job. You have to show up.
With your commitment, 100% commitment to make it happen. Those kids are not just going to sit down at the table. I mean, kids are sponges. We all know that they're learning all the time. It's creating a learning environment that I really believe is the thing with homeschool, because they're not just going to learn. You gotta place things in front of them that they can glean from and learn from. That's your job, is to kind of, as a homeschooling mom, is kind of to facilitate learning.
Well, I think it's like you said, it's a job. If you don't show up at a job, you get fired.
Yeah.
Why do you get fired? Because you're not producing anything.
Yeah.
If you're not producing, I mean, it's your kids. Your job is to produce children who are educated. And we know parents who take a lackluster view of homeschooling their kids, or educating their kids in general, even some in the public schools.
You guys, I think that I didn't want to talk about this tonight, really, but Zach really wanted to.
I think it's a good topic.
I get a little scared talking about this because I don't want to offend. But I do know, I'm just going to be honest, that when I was a stay-at-home mom with only one kid, and we were not homesteading, and I had all the conveniences of life in the city, it was easy for me to waste my days. I did a lot of cross-stitching. We read some together, but he was really little, really, really little. So it was easy to waste my days. And sometimes I look back on that and I want to kick myself. I did a lot of things, but I want to kick myself that I wasted so much time. I remember there were times that the mailman would knock on the door and I was still in my pajamas. And this was 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, what was I doing? I was wasting my time. And this is what I would tell myself 10 years ago, if I could, is that get yourself in gear. There's a lot you can accomplish. Just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can get comfortable and stay comfortable all day. A home is a home, and it inspires comfort within us. But I think it takes time for mothers, especially, stay-at-home mothers, to learn that home is not only a comfortable place. It is your job. And it took me time. Like I said, I wish I could kick my 10 years ago self in the butt and say, get up. This is your job. Get going.
Right. So anyway, this is something that we both feel passionate about. Because we get a lot of requests for people who want to visit us and they don't realize how busy we are, and we don't want to offend people and tell them. I don't like telling people, listen, I'm sorry you can't come, but you are kind of inviting yourself to my home. But we're busy here. We do have things to do, and we try to share those as much as possible and educate as much as possible what we do know, and our successes and our failures, through our YouTube channel, so that you can share that way. But we're just busy. There is a lot to do on a homestead, and the way you make a working homestead successful is to work on that homestead. If it's a working homestead, you got to work on it. And if you get a little bit done every day, we've said this before, you get a little bit done every day, it gets better every day, and it improves, and you can really look back on the fruit of your labor and enjoy it all.
And we set goals for ourselves. Like, I never used to do that in my life when I wasn't required to do a lot of things other than, take care of the children and get dinner on the table on time. But I think one of the keys to getting stuff done is, we set goals. And that keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have lists of things we're going to be doing and working on, and things we want to get done, before certain times, and other projects we want to take up once we get the projects we're working on now done. I mean, so there's always things to do, things we want to work on and continue to build. And why are we doing it all? We're building a future for our family, our future for our boys, and their future families. Believe it or not, I've already got the 2 house sites I'd like my boys to live on the homestead picked out. So I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're building a legacy, and we're building our future. I mean, it sounds corny. We're building our future. All the politicians say that, but it's really what we're doing. We have an article that we put up a long time ago saying our children is our retirement plan. I mean, that's the way it was back in the day too, 100 years ago. Your children are your retirement plan. Today, your kids send you to the old folks' home, and their 401k is their retirement plan, and your 401k is your retirement plan. And if you lose the 401k, the stock market crashes, you're out of luck. So, but 100 years ago, it was their children, and what they built today was going to be the retirement plan. It was there to give them as comfortable a life as possible until their life was over. And we've gotten away from that as Americans. Anyway, that article is coming out this week. I think you'll enjoy it. I didn't read it all. There's a couple paragraphs left over. Check it out. You guys are the first to read it here on the podcast, but we'll have it out probably before Tuesday. And then we have some other stuff coming out too this week, some other videos that are raised up. We're going to be doing a video this week probably on the meat preservation. So we just did a tasting tonight. Us and Shalom Acres got together, and we did a taste testing on our hard salami. They call theirs summer sausage. I call it hard salami because it's more of a hard salami for us because we dry it the way they did 100 years ago, and it comes out pretty hard. Not that hard, but it's hard. And you can still cut it. But theirs is more of a soft summer sausage type thing. Theirs is venison, lamb, and beef. Ours is venison and lamb. Really tasty. We'll come out with a video today, tomorrow, or this week on it, and you'll be able to check that out and see how some of our other stuff. We still have meat hanging in the pantry that's over a year old, has never been cooked, has never been refrigerated or frozen, and it's perfectly fine to eat. And it's hanging in our pantry. So we'll talk about all that this week on a video. Hope you'll enjoy that. And then let's go to the links. I've got Off the Grid News. There was a article they have out there this week called the dirt cheap frugal way to start seeds. And it talks about containers. A lot of this stuff you guys have done before, probably know some of it. But this is, again, it's for beginners, guys. People who've never done something before. Gardeners today, if you've been doing this for years, you've got your own techniques, you've got your own things that you want to do, and you're setting your ways. But for new people, someone who wouldn't know, a tomato plant from a power plant and wants to grow their first tomato.
Power plant.
And wants to grow their first tomato. I mean, what do you do? How do I grow my own veggies, Zach? Well, it's articles like this that can get someone thinking in the right direction without going out and spending a ton of money on supplies. Because right now I was in Walmart this week, and I'm always looking at the garden section in Walmart. I want to see what they have, if there's anything I need to get, which is rare. But, I stocked up years ago. And I still have all my seed trays. I still have all of my little cups and things that I've purchased long ago, and you use them year after year. But for people who don't do that, who've never done it, what can you do? And so this article gives some great ideas on people who can start out and get their garden growing for cheap, some dirt cheap ways, frugal ways to start your seeds for your garden. So check that out. It's over at offthegridnews.com. It talks about containers, talks about using milk jugs, which I've used them before, yogurt cups, really cool. I never heard of that before, actually, even though it makes perfect sense. Water, juice, soda bottles, even though some of those things, people worry about the plastics and the BPA, are they food grade plastic? I'm not sure. All kinds of containers are K-cup coffee pods. Like we don't have a K-cup coffee pot thingy, but we've seen those before.
Oh yeah, seems like they'd be a little small.
But for seedlings just starting out, it might be okay.
Huh. Okay.
So starting off, I don't have a K-cup coffee pot. We just make ours with a what's that thing called?
It's called a coffee cone.
A coffee cone. But you can people would give away these K-cups, and I'd bring them home because they didn't want them anymore.
Oh yeah.
And I'd bring them home and use a knife to cut them open and then throw them into the coffee cone.
Yeah, we dumped the grounds out.
People are like, you have a K-cup coffee maker? No, I just put them in my coffee cone. Soft plastic containers have an advantage. It says when you're transplanting, you can squeeze the soil. So that's really, it says you can squeeze the soil and seedlings come right out. But that's exactly true with the K-cup coffee pods. The body of those things are really soft and you can push out your soil. So those would probably be a pretty good way to start your seedlings. Anyway, it talks about potting mix and, getting the right potting mix and looking for the right ones. What your potting mix should have in with it. Maybe some things you can mix your potting mix with, things that you can find, cheap or free. They even talk about a recipe posted at the Prairie Homestead, which we've done articles before. And so they have links to that as well. So that's a really popular Homestead blog. Talks about seeds. The last essential product you need to start is seeds. Well, seeds, you need to save your seeds from year to year. If you buy seeds, you might have extras lying around you didn't plant in years past. It's always best to test the viability of the old seeds before planting them. The germination rate of seeds decreases over time, and that's totally the truth. More so with some seeds than others. We have seeds today that are 10 years old that'll still sprout, almost 95%. It just depends on the type of, seed that it is. And it says, one last tip, seed tape. I've never heard of this. If you love seed tape as much as I do, you can pinch pennies by making your own. All you need is toilet paper, homemade flour, and water paste and seeds. I don't know what seed tape is. I've never heard of that. It says it has a link to an article on seed tape, so I'm gonna have to click on that and learn what it is. If you've never heard about seed tape, you're in the same boat as me. You can check it out. The link is in the description below. Before we get over to the chat room, there's a couple other articles. Another one from Off the Grid News is 7 invasive weeds you can turn into livestock feed. And so we were talking about this recently because we have a new milk cow, and we're looking for things to feed our milk cow in the fall and winter. And it's been mentioned to us that we could grow winter wheat and sow our field, with winter wheat, and then graze our cow on that as extra, food for the winter and for the fall. And so I'm thinking maybe we'll do that. I'm not sure. But one of the things that caught my eye inside this article was they recommend a gallery of gourmet weeds that you can feed to your livestock. And kudzu is something that grows, rampant where we live. It's very invasive, and I know that there are people who plant it for their livestock. They think because it's a never-ending food supply. It's going to come back year after year. It's going to come back in huge abundance, and it's goats will eat it, cows will eat it, sheep will eat it, horses can eat it, but basically, and they say it's even it's high in protein too. So it's very appealing for people to plant kudzu. It's spelled Kudzu. Kudzu. The problem is, if you ever decide to get rid of your livestock, or if you just happen to die one day, and the guy who buys your farm doesn't want livestock. He doesn't like goats. He doesn't like sheep. He doesn't like cows, and he's never going to get rid of the kudzu. It's there forever, and eventually it will take over everything and destroy the world. It will. It will. It will cover everything and take no prisoners.
But you'll be dead, so it won't matter.
Well, the guy who bought the farm won't be. And if he's a smart buyer, he won't buy your farm because he sees the kudzu and he's like, oh no. I know what happened to the last guy who who had kudzu, and he's not around to talk about it anymore. It is one of the most invasive plants that you can imagine on a farm, and it recommends to plant it for your goats. The problem is, I think the cons outweigh the pros on this plant. I would highly discourage anyone from ever planting kudzu. Nuke it from orbit. Let's see. It recommends stinging nettle and burdock. All good ideas. Some better than others. I mean, I don't know anything that will eat stinging nettle when it's green. Maybe goats. I think goats can only eat it when it's dry because it stings. So basically, people cut it down and then feed it to their animals. But I mean, you don't want to touch that stuff. So I don't know why it recommends stinging nettle. Garlic, mustard, and red root pigweed. I'm not familiar with those as I am some of the other ones. But the kudzu is one definitely I would stay away from. So interesting article over at offthegridnews.com. You can leave a comment below in that article and tell them just how. If you know anything about kudzu, you can tell them that they're crazy. Let's see. Before we go over to the comments on the chat room, one more article. This is a good one. It's over at the homesteading.news, so not .com, it's .news. And it says, why your organically raised chickens are much better for you than the store-bought brands. You know, every week I go, I don't know if I said this last week or not. Every week I go into Walmart and I look over at the egg section. And you know, in Walmart, they have the rollback prices that they put up. Well, for the last, 2 months or so, they've had rollback prices on, because they have the eggs in section. There's the regular garbage eggs, and then you have, it starts to go up from there. Farm eggs or brown eggs or cage-free eggs or no antibiotic eggs. And then you go all the way up to the best section, the highest priced eggs they have, and they're cage-free, free-range, organically raised, whatever they say, brown eggs, farm eggs, and it's like $3.58 or $3.97, I think, a dozen.
Does it really say free range?
Yeah. Normally priced, because it's a rollback price of $3.97 or whatever.
Their definition of free range is not our definition.
Oh no, it's not. I mean, their definition of free range could be, you have 2 feet to wander. Because you're free range.
Well, you have
they don't
2 more feet.
Well, they don't specify how big the range is, but it's normally $4.58 a dozen. That's the rollback price is $3.90 something, but the normally $4.58 a dozen. I know a lot of people who are like, I can't buy eggs because it's too expensive. People won't pay a farmer $3 for a dozen eggs. But meanwhile, the most expensive eggs over at Walmart are $4.50 a dozen. And I bought a dozen of these eggs not too long ago and brought them home because this was during when the chickens weren't laying all that much. I was like, we'll try these and just see how they are. And they didn't taste as good, and the shells were a lot thinner than our eggs. So that means our eggs have more calcium in them because the shells are thicker. And I'm like, these are $4.50 a dozen, and people are buying them, So what's the deal with not being able to pay a farmer over $3 when the farmer ones obviously are going to be better than the $4.50 ones at Walmart that don't taste as good and the shells are thinner? I don't get it. Anyway, homesteading.news. A few years back, researchers from the Netherlands have found that organically fed chickens develop different genes than their conventionally fed counterparts. The result is the genes responsible for creating cholesterol have a higher expression in organically fed chickens, yet these birds do not have elevated blood cholesterol levels. Commissioned by the Louis Bulk Institute in Driebergen, the study compared 2 groups of chickens from 2 generations that were each fed the exact same things with the exception of one group receiving organic feed and the other conventional feed. Upon completion, scientists took RNA samples from all the chickens' intestines in order to compare and contrast gene expression. Researchers were surprised, I tell you, to discover that simple differences in cultivation methods can have such a drastic outcome in how chickens process their food and express it in their genes. Dr. Astrid de Grief, he must be Norwegian. Is that Norwegian if you're from the Netherlands?
I can't see where you are.
Netherlands? Is that Norwegian?
No.
That's a weird name.
I think
Astrid de Grief.
I think Astrid I think
Astrid de Grief.
I think it's a woman. I think that's a woman's name.
Anyway, from the livestock research, and her colleagues came to find that 49 genes ended up regulating differently in the organic group. 7 of the different genes are involved in cholesterol biosynthesis, since cholesterol is necessary for the production of hormones and is a building block for many other substances. It is unclear to exactly what extent conventional feed is negatively affecting chickens. What is clear, though, is that feeding chickens organically is even more important than previously thought. And it goes on to talk about some other research. According to a 2006 Consumer Reports study, chicken is one of the most important products to purchase organic. Organic chicken does not contain the toxic hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides that commercially raised birds do, according to the report. And you see a lot of things nowadays because of that report, that Consumer Reports. A lot of manufacturers have changed their practices. You'll see a lot of packages at the store saying, hey, it's antibiotics free, or pesticide free, or hormone free. The difference is how they classify pesticides, how they classify antibiotics, and how they classify hormones. Chances are you're still getting that. I mean, guys, you've seen these Arnold Schwarzenegger chickens that they pass off at the grocery store, and they're gigantic. That's not natural, okay? It's just not. So they're doing something to them. Anyway, great article. Check it out over at the homesteading.news. The link is in the description below. They were talking about absinthe over at Deep South Homestead.
Really?
The hour before here.
Yeah?
Yeah, they said that wormwood, you can get absinthe today with wormwood in it. It is possible. My local liquor store does sell it. It's very expensive, though. I got the cheap brand the cheap brand that they sell there. I tried it once and brought it home. Jamie did not like it at all.
No, I didn't like it.
I like the flavor of black licorice. If you like the flavor of black licorice, you will like absinthe. It's amazing. It's an amazing beverage. You can find, I think the best review I've ever seen of it, if you're interested and you want to watch a really cool YouTube video and you want to learn about absinthe, there's a YouTube channel out there called Common Man Cocktails. And he does a review on absinthe. It's spelled A-B-S-I-N-T-H-E. A-B-S-I-N-T-H-E. Absinthe. And he has Common Man Cocktails has a great review video on it. I really enjoyed watching it. That's how I discovered his channel. I like his channel. Check it out. Try it. You can buy it now. It's made legal in the United States. It was illegal for a while. It's legal now in this country, and you can buy it. And wormwood is legal. There's people who make it with wormwood. You can buy it still in the higher priced products. I really like it. I like black licorice. Jamie's like, not so much.
I just never have, even when I was a kid. I never liked it.
Well, you weren't drinking absinthe when you were a kid.
Licorice.
All right. Going to the chat room. Let's see. If you have questions and you want us to answer them, please go over to the chat room and post your questions in all caps. And if we miss them, please post them again. We'll try to get to all the questions that we can, or the ones that we feel comfortable enough to answer. Let me expand the chat room out here, get it bigger. Okay. So, I'm looking at the chat room here now, and they're talking about absinthe. Anise seed has a similar flavor. Yeah, it's got, absinthe has anise in it. Lost Dude wants to know if absinthe is a hallucinogen. No. People thought it used to be because they made their absinthe in dirty stills, copper stills with copper salts all over them, and that will make you sick and give you hallucinations. But if it's made correctly in a clean still, it'll be fine. Have you thought about cold, hardy winter crops? Yeah, I mean, we grow some. They're called Jerusalem artichokes and sunchokes. You can dig them up in the middle of the winter. other than that, there's not a lot you can grow in winter. I mean, there's some things you can. We've grown spinach in the winter and some things like that. But I don't know. So, we get by in wintertime. Wintertime is more of a meat harvest and preservation time, traditionally. And that's what we do. Yes, we live in Arkansas. People ask, do you live in Arkansas? Yes, we live in Arkansas. Don Quicksoat says, how come you do podcasts?
Don Quixote.
Don Quixote? Is that like that book from VeggieTales?
No. Well, VeggieTales did a spoof on Don Quixote, but it's a Mexican...
I just remember the VeggieTales Don Quixote.
He was a famous figure in Mexico.
Okay. How come you do podcasts and not video like the other Homestead networks? Because, Don Quixote, we are off-grid, and it is dark in the house right now, except for the light of my laptop screen. We are solar also. This is being brought to you by solar power and our battery bank. So all we have is lantern light, candle light going on. It's just not going to show up well. We've tried it. It does not look good. I tried doing previews when we started messing with this whole thing. It's just better to do a podcast. I know some people don't like radio. Well, you just have to get over it. Radio was, think about it. If you lived back in the 1940s, families used to gather around in the evening after dinner and listen to the radio and listen to the radio shows. You guys go check out, what's the guy who did the Jungle Book song? The bare necessities of...
Oh, gosh, I can't
who's that
remember.
Guy? Phil something.
Oh, Phil Harris.
Phil Harris. Folks, if you want to get some real entertainment, I'm talking quality family entertainment. You go to YouTube or go online somewhere and you try to find some old Phil Harris radio shows. I have some on MP3 on my old computer.
Yeah,
I can't remember some of the he used to do it was with actresses. They would team up and they would do amazing family friendly radio shows. And that's all people had back in the day. Back in the 1930s, back 1920s, 1940s, that's what they had. They didn't have TV. And, you can make radio interesting. You just have to have interesting content and topics and stories to tell. And you can make podcasting radio interesting. So anyway, if you're really interested, go check out Phil Harris and some of the stuff some of the radio shows it's good stuff, right?
Yeah, but I think that listening to stuff is just cool. But, I'm a bookworm, so I love to be read to. Like, if someone will sit and read to me, we do a lot of reading out loud at our house. But I think that your imagination starts working.
Right. 9-3 says, Zach, can we come by sometime and see your garden?
Smart Alec.
Elizabeth Peterson says, was there something that was sent recently to patrons? Elizabeth, you're a new patron. You should have gotten smoked salt right off the bat. And then you'll be in the queue quarterly for other things. But Elizabeth Peterson, let me know if you didn't get your smoked salt, and we'll make sure, because there's been times where things have fallen through the cracks. If you're a patron. But the last thing that went out to the patrons was the homemade washcloths that were made by hand from Joanne here on the homestead. Pure 100% cotton washcloths. Really cool. And we're going to grow cotton this year, folks, on the homestead. It's going to be great. Start reading Zach out loud. I don't get what Aussie Josh is talking about.
He's saying that you need to read to me.
Read to you?
That's because I just said that I like reading out loud.
So I don't know. What is he saying? Start reading Zach out loud.
Maybe he's saying that you should read more out loud.
Down under Aussie humor. The Russian word for wormwood is Chernobyl. I highly doubt that's true. Let's see. The Redneck Pepper says, use a flashlight. We would like to see you. No, you see me in the other videos. You know what I look like. You know what she looks like. You don't need to see me today. The Redneck Pepper says, I got the last salt. Redneck Pepper. Elizabeth Peterson says she did not get the salt or washcloth. Okay, Elizabeth, I will make a note, and I will get that out to you. That we have things sometimes that fall through. You should have gotten the salt, and I'll make sure you get a salt and a washcloth. It may be one of the new salts that we have coming. You may get one of the new jars, so you'll really like that. It's a really nice jar. I mean, it's a nice jar, right? What?
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Peoria, dude. Zach's homework is to read Don Quixote with his aquaponics system in mind.
I don't get it.
I don't really understand the aquaponics, alluding to aquaponics either, because I know who he is. I just don't remember the story that well, I guess.
We're going to have to watch VeggieTales again.
It's not VeggieTales.
We do have that VeggieTales still, I think. That's the only Don Quixote I'm watching is VeggieTales. That was a good one.
It's a book.
I know it is, but it's probably boring, isn't it?
I don't know. I probably read some of it when I was younger.
Have you thought about goats? Have you heard of Kiko goats? Mimo, we have owned goats on 2 different occasions. I will absolutely never, ever, 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 ever have goats again. Sheep are so much easier than goats. Goats get up every day and they think to themselves, how can I kill myself or break something today? That's what goats do every morning when they get up. And they're a pain in the butt. People, if you have goats, I'm telling you, sheep are so much easier. They're so much easier. I could tell you story after story about goats. We don't want goats.
Benjamin Turner knows. Now I remember. Yeah, it was the windmills. Yeah, he was delusional.
Thinking they were dragons or something.
Yeah, I remember now.
The hint was given to you to read, Jamie. I think they want to hear you read.
No, the hint was given to you to read to Jamie.
Oh, okay. I have been reading to you. I do read to you. What are you talking about? That's what I was reading tonight.
I know. I don't know why. I just think that's funny.
Hey, Zach, will you ever have another goat? No more goats. Goats, no goats. There's a reason why, at the end of days, the creator of heaven and earth separates the sheep from the goats. There's a reason. I'm just saying. Okay, have you ever attempted to dry any of the fish in your aquaponics? To dry them? To try them? I don't get what that means. We have never eaten any of the fish in our aquaponics. Some of the fish are ready now. There's some big ones in there. We'll maybe do a video on that. We're gonna start up the aquaponics here pretty soon again and get some greens growing in there. Will sheep clear vegetation like goats do? No, they will not. Sheep will not eat vegetation like goats do, but I will take the trade-off. Sheep eat grass. That's great. I'll let the sheep eat the grass. And for those of you who want to keep goats and clear your forest, you can do that. But I'd rather buy a dozer to clear my forest than goats. I watched your sweet potato video the other day and was wondering if you cured yours before you ate them. I have heard they need to be cured before eating. No, that's not true. That video we did, that first video, remember we bought that football-sized sweet potato out of the ground that one day? Mm-hmm. That night, we ate that sweet potato.
Yeah, we ate it.
And it was delicious.
Yeah.
It was absolutely delicious. So this whole thing that you have to cure your sweet potatoes before you eat them hasn't been the case for us. You can take those sweet potatoes right out of the ground and eat them right there. I mean, it was delicious. It was it was really good. My PayPal said Little Rock, IM in the west of Arkansas. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The redneck prepper. We're in northwest Arkansas, about an hour and a half away from Fayetteville. Maybe 2 hours away from Fayetteville. Something like that. East of Fayetteville. Everyone stop goading Zach. No goats, no glory. All right. If I missed your question, there's a lot of questions. I think we missed some. Please post them back. Are you still planning to keep bees this year? If you're going to post questions, make sure you put them in all caps. Yes. No, Scott. I don't know. We're thinking about it. I know a guy we have the bees hives for sale on the website, and I know a guy who can give, the guy who makes those bees lives up in Idaho, very talented craftsman, amazing beehives. If you're interested in getting started in beehives, I highly recommend picking up one of ours. They're really nice. They're really nice beehives. So I'll probably use one of those and start some bees. My neighbor has bees, and I was a little worried about oversaturating the area with bees, but I don't think that'll be a problem. We have so many persimmon trees on the property, and they say that persimmon makes the best honey. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what he was telling me and other people have told me about persimmon trees. So I think we're going to be at some point getting at least one hive of bees and trying it and seeing what we can do with it. But at some point we will be doing that. Are you going to add any new animals to the homestead? Adding any new animals? So yes, we're going to be getting some sheep this spring. We're going to continue with the herd that we have using the St. Croix, which is a breed. It's a heritage breed, and it's got a little bit of Dorper mixed in. The 2 sheep, St. Croix sheep we have now, were just kind of a test. They were given to us by Shalom makers, and they did fantastic over the winter. They're still looking strong. No signs of disease or parasites, that was the difference, was the commercial breed versus heritage breed. Commercial breeds in this country are shot. They're just done. And the only way you're going to keep commercial breeds alive is massive amounts of antibiotics and massive amounts of medicines and chemicals to make sure they stay alive. Heritage breeds are a lot hardier. They don't produce as much meat. They don't produce as much wool. They don't produce as much milk, but they will survive without chemicals. Okay? And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to expand the herd, and we got some big projects coming up for the homestead. We may be picking up a small D7 dozer to help clear some more land on the homestead for pasture. So I'll know that more about that in the next month or two. Of whether I'm waiting for my tax money to get back from the tax man, Uncle Sam. He's holding my tax money hostage. So when I get that, then we can start making plans. But we're going to do some more St. Croix sheep. And if you didn't know, St. Croix sheep are native to the Caribbean. Interesting fact. They're native to the Caribbean. Why have cotton plants when you got sheep? Well, because the St. Croix sheep are a hair sheep. They're not wool. Okay? And cotton is different than wool. Even if I had wool sheep, cotton is different than wool. It's a completely different material. So I just want to grow the cotton plants because I think they're pretty. I used to drive through southern Missouri, and southern Missouri has a lot of cotton down in, I forgot the name of the towns down there, the big town. But it's down in the Boot Hill of Missouri, and they got a lot of cotton farms down there. It just looks really pretty, and so I'm going to grow a few plants. I think it'd be really neat to look at, and the kids would have fun with it. It's almost like a lesson for the kids, for the homeschool. It's a good homeschool lesson, learning about cotton, where it all comes from. And so most people, they wear a lot of cotton. They've never even seen a cotton plant or know where it comes from. So be good for teaching our kids about that. So we're going to plant some cotton. Have you got any rabbit recipes? No, I'll see Josh. We don't have any rabbit recipes. You'll have to talk to Deep South Homestead on that one. Have you tried growing winter salads like kale and arugula yet? Yes, we've done kale. We've done pretty good on kale. We like growing kale. We'll try to grow some more of it here coming up. We're not giving up on the kale. We like the kale. Will you plant Ladino white clover when you clear your land? I don't know if it's Ladino or not, but we did plant a lot of clover early on when we first got on the homestead. And so, where did you get your... so I don't know if we'll plant some more, but we did plant white clover early on when we first got on the homestead. Let's see. Jamie, where did you get your blue butterfly bandana? I love it.
Zach keeps skipping past that question, but I just got it at Walmart. But I think they come out with different patterns every year because every year when they bring them out in the spring, I always go and check to see which ones I really like. And that one I bought probably 2, maybe 3 years ago now. I haven't worn it in forever. It's in probably you were watching an old video.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember which one she's talking about.
I remember it. It's been a while. And I'm not sure that they make it anymore. They come out with new patterns all the time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, that's the end of the show. Had a great time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm not sure if Big Bear Homestead is going to be doing their Insomnia Platoon tonight or not. I tried to find Big Bear, their show this evening, but I didn't see it on the air. I don't know what happened. But go check out over their channel, see if they're doing the Insomnia Platoon. I don't see it linked anywhere. Anyway, had a great time. We'll have some more stuff for you next week. Thanks for stopping by. Love y'all. See you next time on the Homestead.